We are halfway through 2025, and there is a lot of negativity being reported about the Florida housing market. And there's also a lot of news about rising inventory nationwide. So today, I'm going to do a recap of 2025 so far locally, but also I'm going to predict what I think is going to happen locally and nationally over the next 12 to 24 months. Because right now may be some of the best times for buyers that we've seen in a very long time. I want to start by talking about a number that I think is very significant when it comes to our local market. In the first 6 months of 2025, here in Sarasota, Manatee counties, we've sold 11,229 homes. And what's significant is that in the first half of 2024, we sold 11,239 homes. So almost the same. But even more importantly, the first half of 2023, we sold 11,300 homes. So we're selling almost the same number of homes. So for all of the reports saying nobody's moving to Florida, nobody wants to go to Florida anymore, that the market isn't doing well, I want to say, well, we're kind of selling the exact number of homes. The significant difference is our inventory. Inventory has risen over the last 5 years, as we know, and it's a simple supply and demand. Right now, we just have a lot of supply for the same demand that we've had for the last 3 years. So locally, we have approximately 11,392 homes on the market. So that is 6 months of inventory. So it's a very balanced market. But one thing that is happening for the first time in a very long time, our inventory is no longer climbing. It's actually declining. And from this chart, you'll see that we're putting more homes under contract than we're listing. So that inventory number is just naturally going to start decreasing. And this is a positive thing. Now, with so many more homes on the market though, buyers are definitely being choosy. They're being pickier. They're not ready to just jump on any home without doing their research. And they know when a home is priced really, really well. And if a home is priced well, it is still selling relatively fast. So you may wonder, why are there so many more homes on the market today than they were 3 years ago? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that here locally. First and foremost is we've had a very big new construction boom in our area over the past 5 years. So although builders have slowed down on building inventory homes or spec homes, we still have a number of them, and they are competing with resale. Also in our area, the cost of homeownership has just skyrocketed over the last 3 years. And now we know that prices of homes have skyrocketed, but it's not just the value of the homes that have increased so significantly in our area. No, it's the actual cost of monthly homeowner ownership, such as our insurance and our HOA fees. But there's some bright spot when it comes to insurance that most people are not talking about. And I want to dive into that because this is a significant change in the right direction when it comes to Florida insurance. Typically, everyone thinks that the reason insurance costs are so high is due to hurricanes. And actually, that is part of our insurance costs, but there's natural disasters, unfortunately, everywhere. And insurance companies are prepared for that. What caused our insurance rates here in Florida to jump so significantly was at one time 79% of all lawsuits against insurance companies were filed right here in the state of Florida, and we only make up 9% of total insurers in the United States. So just proportionally, we have so many lawsuits against insurance companies. Well, in 2023, new legislation was put into place to help mitigate that. For the first time in years, property catastrophic reinsurance rates were down by approximately 10% at the January 1st, 2025 renewals. Reinsurance treaties are renewed annually. The Florida Office of Insurance Regulation reported that Florida reinsurance costs decreased by an average of 1.7% in 2024, compared to a 27% increase in 2023. That is significant change in our insurance. So you may say, but my insurance costs haven't gone down yet. How is this significant? Well, first of all, it's significant because at least we know that we're not going to continue to see these rising costs. And second of all, obviously the cost to rebuild has increased over the past few years. So naturally, we're not going to see a huge drop in insurance costs, but we're moving in the right direction. Now, another reason though that our inventory has grown here in Florida simply has to do with the change in demographics. First of all, we did have a number of people move to Florida that could work from home and all age ranges. And right now, in Florida, the population that is leaving Florida at the highest numbers are people between 20 and 35, the younger generation, as our job market isn't quite the same, and a lot of those work from home jobs have evaporated. So that is a big change here. And then also, there were so many people that stayed in Florida that may be empty nesters or retirees that had maybe thought about moving and just waited to see what was going to happen during that pandemic stretch. And then also, there was no inventory anywhere and the costs were rising, so they stayed in place. So now there's so much transition going on when it comes to home ownership. So naturally, we have a lot of homes on the market. So in the past 12 months, I've had a number of my buyers from Michigan, Ohio, Massachusetts, Missouri, New York tell me that their markets are still hot and that they have been able to sell their homes in 3 days with over asking because the inventory in other parts of the United States is still pretty low in relative to Florida housing market. So this is kind of one of those once in a lifetime opportunities where you can still sell high and buy low here in Florida. So we probably have another 12 months of this, and then you are going to experience the too much inventory in your market like we have. Remember, Florida usually leads the way in trends. We have been growing in inventory for the last 2 years, and this will naturally happen nationwide. But one thing that is significant, people are still moving to Florida. And if interest rates go down at all, like they are predicted to do in the next 12 to 24 months, there will be an influx of even more buyers because there's a lot of people kind of sitting on the fence, waiting to see what happens, see what this administration is going to do and what the interest rates are going to do. And so eventually that pent-up buyer demand is going to come back for sure. So don't think that no one's moving to Florida because we get calls every day and we appreciate you reaching out to us, asking us about the market. We love getting the calls and helping so many of you relocate to this area. So truly, this may be a once-in-a-life opportunity to sell high and buy low. So if we can be of any help, give us a call today. We appreciate you watching. And remember, when dealing with real estate, always work with an expert.